Right, I'm set this side. My recording is looking good.
Great.
No clicks and pops. We're all
Have you left the door ajar for Pocky? Podcast cat to make an appearance.
No, it's
he can let himself in.
He can, yeah, he actually can. So I'm sure he'll pop in at some.
Interesting things said by uninteresting people. Show hosted by Ben and Tom. Interesting things said by uninteresting people.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Interesting Things Said by Uninteresting People, a podcast where we talk about interesting things that you will surely find interesting as well. My name's Ben, and as always, I am joined by the far more in-time half of the podcast, Tom.
Hello.
How are you, mate?
I'm good, thanks, man. I'm still scared about those intros.
Don't worry, that's never going to go away, mate. That's never going to. I'm going to work on the facial expression of like this week. This week is going to be. You're going to regret this week. I don't know, man. It's funny how you slip into things like that, but it's never intended to be such a stressful experience.
Hey.
What's been going on, dude? I suppose you're not really. Are you quarantined? Do you feel quarantined still?
Yeah, well. Yes, no, I'm still working from home for everything. For everything. Literally for everything. And this week's been particularly, we just said, as we always do, I had a particularly crazy week with Petrol work and then with video work. And then I had to work yesterday, which was a Saturday, which sucked. But kind of out the other end now, I hope.
I've been pooed out the other end.
Good. Pooed out the other end, yeah. So hopefully there only 1 month left of teaching. And then that is it.
How do you feel about leaving the teaching behind? I mean, I guess we haven't really spoken about this either on or off air, have we?
No. The other thing as well to mention, maybe quickly before we go into that, is I think we might have I don't want to jump the gun here, we might have a few more listeners this month, hopefully. Is it
students? Is it as a bribery for getting a good grade?
No.
Hey, guys, reading material.
A couple of Twitter DMs and a couple of Instagram DMs, people sliding into the DMs asking if I have a podcast.
Excellent.
And I said yes. And I was like, it's here. And some people have been like, oh, sick. And then some people haven't replied, but
fair enough. They probably want to listen. Well, dude, you know what? I want to say thank you to you, Tom, for mentioning that at the top of the episode. Because now I know. Was it last episode at the end of the, when we're making all the fart jokes and joking around?
By the way.
Yeah, by the way, we have got the cool kids listening to this now.
Yeah, but no, yeah, man, I feel it's I guess more than anything, I don't feel weird about leaving teaching. It feels weird leaving certainty of income. That's potentially the more like, oh my God situation, especially with COVID and all that stuff. Like, it's never a good time to leave a full-time job with good pay.
Sure, security.
It's never a good time to leave, is it? But, it's got to be done.
Dude, I heard the expression a while ago, like, you're never going to have all green lights. There's always going to be something that's going to make it a bad idea or make, especially the bigger the change, the more red lights you're going to be able to see if you look for them. So you just got to go for it.
Yeah, big time. But no, yeah, I'm kind of quietly optimistic. Things are going quite nicely on YouTube, but I've had some really good growth, actually. Last 2 months, I've gone up nearly 3,000 subscribers, which is like a lot for me. That's a huge amount.
Dude, that is huge. That's like, mate, that's a significant percentage of your overall subscribers as well, isn't it?
That's like it's like a 10% increase over a month, which is really good.
That's hectic.
So yeah, that's been good. And some videos, I don't want to just talk about my channel, but some videos have really popped off. Like I did one for Pro for Gaming, that's on 124k views.
Wow.
It's only a week old. So that's for my channel, that's really good. So that's nice.
Yeah,
optimistic.
Dude, this is the first time we've spoken about this at all, and I'm really happy, man. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's man. It's good. It's nice to have that kind of. It's nice to have this around the time I'm leaving something else.
Yeah. Oh, dude, 100%.
It's nice to have it. Yeah, that's good.
Do you know the most exciting thing that's happened to me? The happiest thing that's happened in my life is that my wife has bought an electric fly swatter.
Oh,
dude! Now, this isn't quite on the same. This isn't the same league as successful YouTube fame, and obviously the Apple sponsorship, which continues to obviously roll in.
The checks are just rolling in constantly.
But yeah, you know what? On a serious note, if anyone, because we live, as you know, we live in a relatively rural part of the country. Yeah. Even in the towns, it feels like you can get pitchforks walking up down the high street anyway.
Horse and cart.
Yeah. So we get a non-zero number of flies in the house.
Yeah.
And there are days, and it as it gets into the real summer, the number of flies comes up. It's like, okay, get the fly paper out or whatever, and that's we're not squeamish about flies. We're not one of these couples who are screaming every time there's a spider in the bathroom or whatever. But it does get to the point where you're like, right, I need to do something about this. Yeah. And apparently the electric fly swat is the way to go. So picture the cheapest made kids tennis racket you can possibly buy from the sweatiest of sweatshops.
Is it bright orange as well?
It's white. So right. I look forward to that going grubby over time. But instead of a mesh, well, it's still a mesh, but instead of the racket mesh, it's a metal, like a series of metal grids. Right. Which I assume the outer ones are for your safety, and then the inner one is electrified.
Right.
I haven't tested that yet. I was going to joke around and kind of touch it, but I'll tell you what, I'm not sure about doing that because I this morning I got my first fly with it, and I'll tell you what, the way that thing went off like a firecracker has dispelled any kind of desire that I ever had to touch it. Maybe it's fine. Maybe it only looks dramatic because it's a small fly, and I'm sure I would be absolutely fine. But I also don't want to take the chance and walk away with like a griddle pattern on my hand or my leg or whatever.
This thing doesn't plug into the wall, does it?
It's USB powered. The only thing that would make it better is if it had Bluetooth. Yeah. That's the only thing that could improve this.
The fly swatted 10.
And you know what? It works. Because we've experimented with like it's not quite this, but basically like a butcher's UV light. That sort of thing where it's like UV lights and then it's got the electric grid in front of it to try and attract and dispatch flies. They don't. If anything, they seem to be put off by that, which is fine. But you turn it on if there's a few flies in the room and they all bugger off. They don't fly into it.
Yeah.
So we've tried a few other methods. The fly paper's always got a few that have been on, but they don't seem to attract them. They just seem to land on it by random. This, you can hunt them. You can go after them. And man, dude, the results are incredible.
That's awesome.
So that's my happy news of this week.
Mate, we've got a all organic way of catching flies. Literally, the cats, they absolutely love it. If there's a fly in the room, we literally get Pocky or BB, and they'll lock onto it. And mate, they've got cat reactions that we just don't have. So they'll get it in like, honestly, maybe under 10 seconds if it's on the window. It's like gone. Whereas if I went to get that, the fly would be like running circles around, taking the piss. Yeah. But no, they lock onto it and they always just eat them. It's gross, but
man, hey, if they're into it, you do it.
Yeah, man. So that's how we get rid of them.
Nice. I mean, mate, speaking of unsightly insects that need to be dispatched, you wanted to talk about Trump's Twitter copy account, didn't you?
I did, but we don't want to. We always feel like we have to preface this. Preface?
Preface? It's preface. I'm pretty sure it's preface.
It's preface, yeah. Okay, let's roll with that. To preface this, we never want to get too political because, not our country, so do what you want.
So, yeah.
But we've got our own problems. We really do. Someone, effectively, you probably may have heard about this, might not, but somebody has made a Twitter account called Will They Suspend Me? And it is a carbon copy of President Trump's Twitter. And he literally, or whoever it is, just copies his tweet verbatim, and then posts it on their own Twitter. Literally exactly the same pictures, same wording, same mistakes, same whatever. And
same mistakes, worth pointing out.
Yeah, it's been, and it got taken down within like 3 days for glorifying violence.
Jesus.
which is insane because obviously it kind of goes for that one rule for one or one rule for another.
Yeah.
But also, Trump is very like, oh, Twitter's against me and all this sort of stuff. But actually, they're probably allowing him to do a lot more than they should.
Yeah. Oh, that's ironic, isn't it, man? I mean, don't like let's not get started too much. But doesn't that even that tiny little point, isn't that massive? The dude thinks because it's such a childish attitude. You know, you can see it paralleled in little kids complaining what their parents are making them do. Like you ate me, you won't let me do anything I want to do, and they can't see that it's like the 5th chocolate bar they've eaten that they've been allowed to eat before dinner. You know,
it's absolutely mad. So. What's interesting about this account is that it's still up. So I think this is actually account suspended ×2. So it looks like this could be the second account they've had for me. But it's still going. The last tweet was like 9 hours ago or something.
Wow.
And they pin all the tweets of like suspensions they get and like why they've gotten them and all that sort of stuff. So you can read.
What's the account handle, dude? Sorry.
The account handle is suspend the prez. So.
I'll put a description if people need a link.
It looks like it's got a Facebook as well. Let's open that up. So yeah, I guess they're doing exactly the same on Facebook. And it's just funny to see the difference between how they treat an account, you know, that is a regular account versus a president account. I guess the problem there is if they took down President Trump's Twitter account, which, I mean, by all means, why couldn't they? It's their platform.
Yeah, 100%, yeah.
But it's hard, isn't it? How else? I guess he'd just moved to Facebook.
But then, yeah, I mean, would he just get hounded off? If every social media platform was to crack down and say, we are not accepting this anymore, would they create their own, I guess?
Well, it makes you wonder, doesn't it? Like a Trump-based, president-only sort of thing.
But I don't know where I fall about it, man, because, I mean, if they... I understand the argument of leaving these tweets up, and just because there's other people that they do it to as well. I mean, they're all in government who are tweeting similar kind of things, really. But where they say this violates, if you haven't heard us talk about it before, if you haven't seen any of this in the news, where they leave an offending tweet up that breaches the terms of service by, like you say, glorifying violence or what have you. But they say this tweet breaches the terms of service, but we feel it's important, it's in the interest of the public for it to stay visible.
Yeah.
I understand why they want to say it's important for people to be able to see what the president is saying, good or bad. But at the same time, there's a very strong argument that's made all the time, quite rightly, I think, where if you allow people in power to say things like that, it gives permission to everyone else.
Yeah.
And it just even if you suspend some Trump supporters account for saying, not even a copycat account. If you support someone who's reading these tweets day in day out and goes, yeah, Trump knows what's up, and starts tweeting similar stuff and gets banned, who cares? It's too late. They've already gone, yeah, that's what the president thinks. So I agree.
And this is like, to bring it back round to home, like horribly close to home, is Katie Hopkins' Twitter account has been removed completely. Like, she's broken the terms.
Fine.
And to bring that round to home, because she was born in Barnstable, Ben, and that's where we live.
I know.
I know. if there's anything to be ashamed of where you're from, it's probably that. But she, she's been permanently removed, and it does beg the question: was she, is social media actually a platform where you can have free speech? Because while I didn't like what she said, I just don't follow her and I don't see it. It's a tricky one, isn't it? Where if free speech is allowed in your country, does that mean Twitter has to abide by that? Or are you suppressing people's rights by not allowing them to say what they want to say?
It's weird, isn't it? It's like if you had, we both got brothers.
Yeah.
And we both got parents. It's like when you're living at home, if your brother starts smoking weed and your dad says, you're not doing that under my house, and you're looking at it going, well, he's not doing it in my room.
Yeah, I guess so.
I guess that's it, because on social media, you can construct your own little bubble.
Yeah,
but
it's very true.
I guess Twitter are going, well, no, this is all our bubble. And we're saying you're not doing it in our house.
Okay, yeah, well, definitely. I guess it goes both ways, doesn't it? Because if you're allowed freedom of speech, and I guess Twitter is an American product, It must be.
Yeah.
Then they have the free speech to be able to do what they want with their product. That's kind of capitalism in a way, isn't it?
Well, I mean, we've all got the freedom not to listen to someone. We've all got the freedom to say, exactly. I'm not interested in talking to you, and this is my street, this is my town, this is my house, whatever.
Definitely. But then I guess it's the same as anything, isn't it? If you're misbehaving in a nightclub, you get thrown out.
Yeah.
And if you misbehave on a platform, just because it looks different from a club doesn't mean you shouldn't get chucked off.
At the end of the day, Twitter is not a public space.
No.
However much it feels like it, however much it doesn't feel like that makes sense, it's not a public space. It's a company. It's a website. That's how I feel about it. I mean, I know we might have talked about this before, but I feel like social media should be doing much more to take a stand, to take a stance rather. To say, I mean, and you get people that don't agree with it, but whatever, just go. No, you know what? That's violent. That's bullying. That's harassment. We don't want that here.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
It's
hard, icky,
It must be such a complicated issue to deal with, because how do you find all of it as well? Like, did you imagine the amount of Facebook posts a day and Twitter tweets a day? It must be, I wouldn't even know how they go through that unless it's some sort of algorithm.
Yeah. It must be. I mean, I guess most of the legwork must be done by phrase searches or stuff like that. But
certain term. But anyway, to cycle back round.
Yeah, sure.
It's an interesting account, and it's kind of funny to follow because it just shows the difference in how Twitter treats people.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm bashing Twitter, but I'm trying not to. I do really like Twitter, but it's an interesting one.
Yeah. Well, it's just an interesting result of a good invention, I suppose.
It's
just seeing bad bits of humanity from that result from the ability to do it, I guess.
Definitely.
I mean, we were going to mention something else tech related as well with the COVID-19 phone settings that have been released or updated into iOS and Android.
Yeah.
I mean, when we mentioned this before we started recording, I think we said it might not take too long to talk about, but then there is quite a bigger issue here, isn't there?
Yeah, I think there is, definitely.
I mean, for anyone who's not familiar with what's going on, I mean, you can probably find this out yourself if you're interested. If you look into your phone settings, you might find, or it's there. You might find it. Is they have new COVID-19 tracking settings within the phone.
That's right.
And on its own, it doesn't do anything. You need to have downloaded an app that works with it. And for example, because I'm on Android, I was reading the Google description of this. They're saying only like, I think maybe there's even one app per country, which would make sense. That has access to these settings. And the idea is you have your location on, like a lot of people do. You have Bluetooth on, like most people do. And then if you report that you've got COVID, if you've been infected into this app, which again, you're supposed to do, it then can track which devices you've been close to via Bluetooth. And I think it tracks how strong the Bluetooth signal was. So it knows how close you were to them. And it tracks how long you were connected, or, you were within range of that Bluetooth device for. So the idea is that then, if I was infected, then someone I'd been in the shopping queue 2 meters away from would get a notification saying, hey, you were around this person who's been confirmed to have COVID. It was on this day, this time, this long. Yeah, maybe get checked out.
Yeah.
Which, just taken like that, sounds like a pretty good idea.
Mate, on the surface, I'm sure no one would have a problem signing up for that sort of thing.
Yeah. It's more, I mean, the issue comes more from just the tech behind it, I guess. Or for one, the fact that these settings have just slipped into your phone without any real fanfare.
It didn't ask or offer. It just said, here it is, and we're gonna track you, kind of regardless, or to have the power to do that.
Yeah.
I guess the biggest thing is it raises that privacy concern, doesn't it? If they can do it for the COVID-19 pandemic, then what's to stop them from doing it for anything else?
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is the scary, Black Mirror side of things, isn't it?
It is. I mean, what also put me off a little bit was specifically Google's wording of, and I haven't seen the Apple wording if it's any different to this, but when it's describing, when it's putting people's mind at rest over privacy and security, where it's saying like you have certain codes that are only kept for 14 days and they change every 20 minutes. So they basically put measures into place so your data can't be tracked necessarily. Yeah. But the way they word it is that the app that's using this data isn't allowed to keep it, isn't allowed to use the data for anything else, isn't allowed to monitor any other settings. It's like, that's all very well. That's not can't.
Yeah.
That's we've asked them not to.
Yeah. Man, this is what kind of was the point I was going to make, but I didn't, is that, that stuff's in place and it says we can't, but I think if anybody thinks that you can't be tracked through your phone regardless, I think it's possibly a little naive to think that only this stuff is making it possible. If somebody wanted to find you for any reason and they knew what they were doing, I bet it wouldn't take long, especially with the things that you bought and had delivered and all that sort of stuff. But, I guess this just makes it easier.
I guess so. Maybe this is, you're probably right, to be honest. I mean, maybe the only thing here is that you can't automatically detect if someone's got COVID. Yeah. So because they need you to input that into the app, they need to kind of come clean about this slice of tracking.
Yeah,
and go, hey,
definitely.
By the way, this and only this we're tracking you for.
Yeah.
We promise we're not tracking anything else. Maybe that's it.
Pretty... No cross keys. This is a normal promise.
No cross keys.
Yeah.
No takey backsies.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know, man. I think you're right. And it's right to be a bit hesitant about it because it is somewhat scary. Mate, when I mentioned Black Mirror, it just reminded me, I saw an advert for Black Mirror and it said, "Thank you for taking part of Black Mirror season 6.
Brilliant.
I was just like, oh
dude. Was that an official ad or was someone taking the piss?
I saw it online. I didn't give it much thought,
mate, but, either way, that's brilliant. That's so brilliant.
It's absolutely brilliant.
Man, I wasn't going to talk about this, but just real quick insert. Ben Folds, I'm a fan of Ben Folds, good musician, makes good music. He's released a song called 2020, and it's just lyrically, it's so on the money, where it's about how many years are we trying to cram into one. Talk about all these good, we thought it was going to be like 1930, and then we threw in 1944, and it was supposed to be 68, and it's like, I think one of the hooks is 2020, what the actual fuck, which basically sums it. It's a good song, man. Maybe I'll link it. Who knows if I remember.
Mate, yeah, it is real. It's this Black Mirror advert. It says, black. I mean, it looks real and it's fake. It's fake. I've just seen fake Black Mirror. Anyway, it's cool. It's a good idea regardless. It's a mirror.
True.
It's a mirror and it's a 6th season live now everywhere.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's very, very apt, man. That's very
that's great.
Astute.
I can get behind that.
Man, this is a bit of a left turn, but I wanted to mention something just because I've really enjoyed it. It's something good come out of something sad to have happened. We spoke about this before, so I know you know who Adam Schlesinger is. But for those who don't, he passed away actually at the start of April, so months ago now, as a result of coronavirus. Adam Schlesinger was the lead singer of Fountains of Wayne, but he was also just involved with so many different artists and bands, like in a production capacity, or a lot of the time in a songwriting capacity as well. I don't know if you know the film That Thing You Do.
No.
He wrote the title track for that.
Right.
But I mean, he's one of these guys who I was only vaguely aware of. Like, I knew that Fountains of Wayne had a lead singer. If you'd have just said his name, I would have taken a long time to remember who he was.
Yeah, definitely.
But he worked with Motion City Soundtrack, which is another band that I really am into. And so when he died, a couple of the guys that are in the band on Twitter started posting about this and talking about how sad it was. And the more you kind of go from tweet to tweet through into people that you don't know, to see he's the guy that was just always, because he produced and engineered a lot of their stuff anyway. But he's always the guy who was sat in the studio just with the idea. I mean, I know you've recorded music, in a studio setting before.
Yeah.
You sometimes need that dude who's just sat on the sofa going, "Oh, why don't you just switch that section with that section?"
Yeah.
Or like those key ideas, like when you're really tangled up, those key ideas of like, why don't you play that on guitar instead?
Proper little production, little things. Just you need someone with that little like spanner in the head that just makes it go, no, it should be like this.
Yeah,
and then it's like, there it is.
Exactly. And dude, just the fondness that they were talking about him with it really hits home. But the reason I wanted to talk about this was that a lot of people got together. I think it's Father and Daughter Records is one of the labels. There are 2 labels who've collaborated here to make it's a 31 track album of people covering songs that he wrote either with one of his own bands or for someone else. And it's called Saving for a Custom Van. And it's on. I think if you just search for Saving for a Custom Van, then you'd probably find it. You'd probably come across it. It's on Bandcamp. I think it's a pay what you want maybe, but it's all of the money's going to Music Care's COVID relief fund. So it's all for charity.
Oh, that's cool.
There's Motion City Soundtrack to name did a cover on there. I think Ben Lee and Sarah Silverman did a cover of a song that she'd already sung, maybe for something else. But the stand, for me, there's lots of good songs on there, man. But the standout is a cover of Stacey's Mom, by Rachel Bloom,
right? And
you know what? It's got that sort of happy, sad feel to it.
Yeah,
where it's sad because of the circumstances, but it's good. Do you know? And it's a nice arrangement.
Is it like an acousticy sort of cover?
Yeah,
or is
it's a very chilled out, very kind of chilled out cover, and it's just nice. It's a really fitting tone to it. They really nailed it. Nice. Yeah, man. There's a lot of artists on there covering that I don't recognize, but the sound of it, because of the time when Fountains of Wayne were as big as they ever were, or when his writing was as prominent as it ever was. It's that kind of like late 90s, early 2000s. It's the films that we watched in college, basically. It's those soundtracks where it's just
American
got that
Pie.
Yeah, where it's just got that kind of feel to it. And it's a real. If you are, I would say, if you're just past 30, maybe if you're between if you're between 28 and 36, if you're around that sort of age group, it's worth checking out just on musical merit alone.
Cool.
Genuinely, it's a really good album, and it's a long album, eh? 31 tracks is good value for money.
That's a huge amount, yeah.
But, it's just the fact that he was so beloved to inspire something like this after he died.
Yeah,
sad as that obviously is.
I've literally just googled it, and it is Father and Daughter Records. Yeah, it's all there on Bandcamp. Yeah, it's cool. That's great.
I would heartily recommend it if you're into any of that kind of music. Then I would definitely recommend having a look. And I just wanted to mention it. I know, I don't want to make too massive a deal out of it, but it was.
No, that's okay.
Yeah, it was. I'm glad that because again, I would never have heard about this.
Yeah.
So I'm glad, but for a few random tweets.
That's
so
good.
Yeah, I'm glad that I came across it, and happy to share.
Excellent. But do you have actually while we're talking about sort of recommendation-y sort of stuff, I bought a book.
What?
Tom bought a book. Holy crap!
We should have a whole new jingle for this whole section. We use it once every in a blue moon.
Yeah, once every 5 years to signal. I bought a book. I don't know, for people out there that don't know me, I don't read books particularly. It's not that I've got anything against them. I would like the idea. I really like the idea. Sorry, that I would read more, but I don't. And it's not because I don't want to, it's because I don't make the time for it, because I'm usually making time for everything, which is fine. But it's from Jordan Peterson, who's like a clinical psychologist. You may have seen his videos on YouTube. And unfortunately, he's kind of like, and I say unfortunately because I think that's how he gets a lot of his like notoriety, is he's known for like disagreeing with feminists or breaking down the gender pay gap and like proving it doesn't exist, and like there's always those on YouTube there's like top 10 Jordan Peterson smackdowns where he like really puts someone in their place.
Destroys this liberal.
And like he does do that. But that's, to solely place him on that isn't fair, because the bulk of his work, and he says this over and over again, he's like, the bulk of my work isn't based around that. But unfortunately, that's where the controversy and that's where the popularity does bubble up from. But, he talks about a lot of stuff, how to, basically, he runs a practice and he kind of just tells stories from the practice, obviously without mentioning anybody's name, but says how he manages to get people to think better and how to be more proactive, how to get out of depressive states. I'm really lucky to not be in any of those positions, but I found what he was saying was so interesting.
Sure.
And such a new way of thinking about it that I had never thought about those things before, that I thought I'll give his book a go. And it's been a bestseller for nearly like 2 years.
Yeah, sure.
Which is mad. It's called 12 Reasons of Life, something like that. 12 Rules of Life, an Antidote to Chaos, or something like that.
Okay.
I'm just loading up my Amazon order. Yeah, 12 Rules for Life, an Antidote to Chaos. He's a really interesting guy. He's the most known for thing, I think, is actually this interview on Channel 4. He's from Canada.
He's from Canada.
What is wrong with me? He's from Canada and Canada. Oh, I'm gonna.
That's brilliant. Do you know what, mate? Don't even worry. I've done exactly that before. Exactly that.
He's from Canada, but I think a big thing he was known for was this interview on Channel 4, where he kind of butts heads with this reporter, and the reporter keeps picking him up on like, oh, so you're saying this, and will really overgeneralize what he says, and he'll just literally be like, no, that's not what I've said. Here's what I have said, and then repeats it back to her. And you can tell she's like, she's obviously really good at riling people up and getting good answers. She's a good reporter. She knows exactly what she's doing. But he doesn't rise to it and will, always come back with like a really good point or like, oh, have you thought about this? And there's one point in that where he, I think it's probably the one he's most known for. He's talking about, I'll try and make this so it's quick as possible, but she says to him, you don't like it when people ask for specific gender pronouns. So like, if you're a trans and you want to be referred to as a she, then in Canada that's become law. You have to do that now, and he took issue with that.
Okay.
And he's like, I'll do it if somebody asks, but I don't like it that it's the law, because they're now determining what I can and can't say, and that's an infringement on free speech.
That makes sense. Okay.
And so a lot of it bubbles up around there, and she kind of overgeneralizes a little bit of him and says, why should you have the right to offend somebody like that? And he comes back and says, well, what gives you the right to offend me on my stance of it right here and right now?
Yeah.
And she doesn't have a comeback for him. And there's this like 10 seconds of silence. And he kind of says, and I kind of wish he hadn't said it, because it kind of like brings his argument down. He kind of points to him and goes, gotcha. Because she doesn't have a reply to it, because, it is the same thing, and she obviously agrees with him on that point, but doesn't know what to say back.
Yeah.
And it's like an interesting, you can see her slowly process it and go, oh yeah, he's right. It's an interesting one.
Yeah, not to, I promise I won't try and get too sidetracked here, but there's a couple of similar cases, which I'm not going to try and remember the specifics for, but in UK law, within the last couple of years, where people have turned down very emotive bills, or MPs have voted against very emotive subjects. I think, I might be getting this completely wrong, but I think the law on upskirting was one of them, like filming or taking photos, which is gross in itself.
Which is awful.
Just to make that very clear. But there are a couple of MPs who voted against the the bill to make it illegal, I think, and they had similar reasons. And when they say them, it actually makes a sort of academic sense, where they're saying, no, the reason I'm voting against this is because of the way it's being put through Parliament.
Right, yeah.
Because if we allow this, then in the future we're going to be in trouble. And it is difficult. And this is the thing, man. I mean, I've got limited experience with Jordan Peterson, but I feel like he's one of these people who, because he's so knowledgeable about a subject, he's very good at being academically, like slicing a subject to its core and saying, this is the issue here. Almost at the expense of empathy with how it sounds. You know how they say like knowledge is knowing that a tomato is a fruit and wisdom is knowing it doesn't go in a fruit salad. It's like, you can be really right, but you have to look at the context that you're, and this isn't to take away from him at all. But I think, you know, like you say, it's like what he's saying is very technically true. And he's saying, no, this is my specific problem here. Yeah. But it's just making that sound accessible to people who only see the headline, you know?
Yeah, he definitely falls on the side of like fact and science over empathy and that sort of thing, which is, you know, I think it's a very personal thing, which way you take that, which way you'd rather have that. But it's
then, sorry, no, go on.
I was going to say, it's also very... he gets taken as a right winger a lot because he talks about the radical left a lot. He's actually not. He doesn't suggest that he would vote for Trump or anything like that. You know, he's very
sure.
I don't think he ever really reveals it, but he says he's, if anything, he's more liberal than he is conservative.
The thing is, I mean, the world we're living in at the minute, if you criticise your own side, then you're on the other side.
Yeah,
that's that's how it is. You criticise the radical left, well, you can't possibly anywhere near the left then. Yeah. You must be on the right.
I think this is why I found it so interesting, because I lean left so, you know, relatively heavily, is to have some of those things put apart. I think has been so interesting for me. That's what kind of made me buy his book a little bit. Because, like, when he says those things, it's like, oh, yeah, hadn't considered that. And you're right, that doesn't seem right.
Yeah.
So just from getting a different perspective is so interesting. But yeah, I think it'd be cool.
I've heard him on. Like I say, I haven't got a massive experience with him, but I've heard him talk on podcasts, I think talking about this book. And it seems like for someone who's so scientific, it seems like he's kind of quite esoteric as well. Like he's quite, like the descriptions he gives or the analogies he makes are quite out of left field. You know, I get the impression that he wouldn't write a book that was very, very scientific. It seems like he's got kind of I don't want to sound like a fun side, but that kind of thing where it's like, you know, I think when he's writing, when he's got time to think about the comparisons he's making, he can make it accessible. Maybe it's just when he's talking on the fly or being interviewed or what have you. I don't know.
Yeah, I think one of the things that he's mentioned, which, you know, because every reporter kind of brings up, like, don't you feel bad about all these people you're offending, all that sort of stuff. And he usually comes back with no, because I've had over 30,000 letters that say, you've helped me get away from suicide. You've helped me to get my life back in order. You've helped me do this, that, and that. And he's like, that's way better than ever upsetting anyone's feeling.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. I'm not trying to sing his praises because I don't know it all yet. You know, I'm very new to it all, but it's interesting enough for me to get
you know what, mate? That exactly what you said there. That's what more people need to be saying, in my opinion. Where it's like, I almost feel like, just in general now, I almost feel like there's a great big witch hunt going on, and everyone's taking part, whichever politics you believe in, whatever side of any particular argument you're on. There's like a general witch hunt that we're all on to find the people that we disagree with and get rid of them.
To find those responsible. It's never, I agree.
And like weed them out. So we're all like, everyone seems to be on this quest at the minute to get rid of the non-believers, whatever that looks like to you. And that's not what you need in the slightest. I mean, fuck, dude, I mean, just let people be. Like, do you know what I mean? If you, what kind of world are you honestly going to live in if everyone believes exactly the same as you do?
Exactly. Which is why, like, I feel lucky in a way, despite the Conservative Party leaning to the right, they're still quite centralist. You know, we're lucky that we don't have one that goes, and so is America and loads of places, to be honest. It's not like communism or capitalism and pick your one. We're all quite, you know, things are better possibly now than they have been, but I don't know.
It's more in the middle than it feels like sometimes, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah, there you go. That's my wrap up on that. Like I say, don't know everything about him. Don't want to sing his praises too highly because I haven't found it all out yet. But it's interesting.
There might be some interesting things in what someone's saying. That's it, mate. That's a good.
Said by uninteresting people.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
The setup of like 20 odd episodes is leading up to this moment. It's like when they say the name of the film in the film.
Yeah. Oh man. Crazy.
That was some Star Wars.
We've had our first meta moment.
I know, right? Jesus. Mate, we have got some other stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
I want to get your opinion on something. Now, I know that we talked about this briefly before recording, and that you're coming to this fresh. Which I almost, because of a few things about it, I'm almost glad for, because it'd be nice to get like a fresh take on it. But I've more come across the new streaming service Quibi.
Right, I've never heard of it.
Which like I said, I think I'll be interested to get your thoughts on it, right? Because I mean, on the one hand, one more streaming service. We one day probably will have a streaming service where we're creating new original content.
So to confirm, it's streaming like Netflix, like Disney Plus, like
that sort of thing. Yeah,
that sort of thing, right? Where
you pay. I mean, this is the technical bits. To get the technical bits out of the way, I think they do maybe 2 payment options. Now this is a weird thing. They have a paid option that's ad supported, or a paid option that's more expensive and is ad free.
Right.
Which I don't know. Seems. I mean, fair enough, but something about that. Yeah, something about that just seems weird to me. Where if I'm seeing ads, I feel like that should be free.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah.
So price wise, I don't know in the UK. Actually, I know dollar wise, it's about $5 or $8. It's something like that. I should really have looked to see how much it is in the UK, but I imagine it's similar. Sort of £5-10 maybe. And I want to tell you. Okay, I'm going to tell you the features of it in a particular order, because there's one feature that I really want to get your opinion on, but I want it to be in context. Okay, so before we even start before we even start, this is not an ad. I don't really know what I'm talking about, but there's some stuff in it that I found really interesting. The A-list celebrities involved in this. Spielberg's making for it. You name an A-list celebrity, dude. It's the people who are involved in making things for this. It's Hollywood, right? No bones about it. It's top tier, level of creatives and talent going into this. Okay, the content that they're making is whatever it is. Each individual piece is only between 4 and 10 minutes long.
Right.
So I think they say they have 3 categories. I think where it's they have movies, so feature length content, which is divided up into chapters, and I think they said they're releasing it daily. So you watch, but it's made for that. So you get like a 10-minute chapter of a movie, and then another 10-minute, and then they have like documentaries in real life as well, which obviously falls into all of this is in the same time format. And then I think they've said they're making like daily shows, not the Daily Show, but they're making daily like news shows or other non-serious things, but stuff that's designed to be like a one-off daily. Here it is, we made like a YouTube series. Yeah. If I tell you, we still haven't got to the interesting technical point. I mean, I find the idea of having a cap on 10 minutes. I actually really like that.
It's definitely different. Makes it really different.
Yeah.
Very, very weird.
I mean, this comes from, and I know this is my personal issue, and you, right? I'm about to fall flat on my face when you tell me there's a setting for this. I cannot search YouTube by time length, and I would love to be able to.
I've never actually decided to do that. I'm sure you can.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it literally comes from if I go, I've got 10 minutes to spare.
Right.
I don't want to start a 15-minute video. If I've got an appointment, if I'm in a waiting room, I'm like, I'm 5 minutes early. I don't want to start watching something that's 20. I know you can just come back to it. But honestly, if I had the option to search, just keep YouTube, in this search, show me videos maximum 5 minutes, maximum 10 minutes, I would be in the target demographic for that, I think.
Yeah, mate, it's a weird one because YouTube pushes things that are over 10 minutes. So I don't know if that would go directly against what they want you to actually watch.
Of course, yeah. And the thing is, mate, it's. I also there's plenty of times where I would watch 10-minute, 20-minute, hour-long YouTube videos.
Yeah.
But there are also times, and this is what I mean. I mean, I should maybe say this doesn't sound like something that for me would ever replace any other streaming service, free or paid for or otherwise. But just as a kind of sitting in the middle niche thing, they're making I think they're just finishing off a quarantine remake of The Princess Bride.
Right.
Again, dude, A-list talent. And I cannot stress that enough, right? There are names that they're withholding who's playing different parts. So they're remaking it. Like, I don't know if it's exactly shot for shot, but it's like scene for scene. Yeah. And dude, it just looks great. I can't lie. This is what's got me excited to maybe, I think they do like a 14-day free trial. I might pick it up just to watch this. Because I like The Princess Bride and the names of and it's very, oh my God, what was the name of that film? Was it Be Kind Rewind?
Yeah.
Where they Sweded films, where it's
they kind of just made it up.
Where it's like it's leaning into the low budgetness of it, leaning into the kitchen utensils as props and all that kind of stuff. That's what we're talking. All right, but it's a load of Hollywood celebrities acting out this film.
So they're doing it on their phones.
They're doing it in quarantine. Yeah, at home, just on their phones. Now this is leading to so that's why I'm interested, right?
Right. Yeah.
But this is going to be a two-stager because I have a feeling I'm going to say the first bit of this and you're going to go, ugh. And I'm going to say the second bit and we might have something more interesting to talk about, right? Because they had to tell a load of celebrities to reshoot the films because they'd shot them in landscape. And this Quibi leans heavily into things being directed for portrait. Vertical video. Right. So now it's not exclusively that, but everything is shot with the intention of being watched in portrait.
Right. Kind of like TikTok or something.
Like, exactly. So the intention is, again, with it all kind of ties together. The short videos, you're holding your phone, they're going, it's going to at least make cinematography sense? Yeah. Cinematographic sense if you're holding your phone in portrait mode.
Right.
So, I mean, as someone who is into video, makes very good video, what are your thoughts about this? How do you feel about this?
Off the bat, it feels like it's going to be a really short-lived thing because quarantine won't last forever, which is why I'm surprised it's a subscription thing, but maybe it is only short-term. Yeah. It's fine. I get the vertical thing. People are on their phones, and I guess if a landscape video comes up, a lot of people probably turn it off. I don't know what the metrics are on that, but I bet a lot of people just go, I'm not interested. Mm-hmm. So keeping it vertical is a fair point. Thing is, though, it's never going to move past, in my small mind at this point, I can't see it moving past, you wouldn't watch a film for the visuals in that respect then. If it's an actor recording it at home, it's going to look like an actor recorded it at home. Yeah. So,
but this is, dude, Spielberg's he's making a horror series that incidentally you can only watch after sunset where you are.
Okay, well, I quite like that. That's quite cool.
That's cool. Yeah, see, there's lots of little funny features like this. I'm not saying it's the greatest thing ever. I personally, I don't have too much of a problem with vertical video.
In general?
In general. Because there are certain... it depends on what you're filming. If you're filming a person, people are portrait-sized. Yeah. If you're filming a conversation between two people, it's sort of... I don't know. I don't have a gut immediate reaction to it in a negative way, I guess.
No, the thing is it fits the medium, doesn't it? So it fits the phone. The thing is, things are widescreen because we have two eyes, going horizontally between our face.
Yeah.
If we had two eyes like this, I'm pointing at my forehead and my nose, then it would make sense to have it that way. But we don't, and that's why we have it like that. I really like the idea that stuff's time limited. You can only see the Steven Spielberg film if you go to a field and and the moon is there. Or
this is the other thing as well. I should have said it's mobile only. So there is no desktop. Just to be really clear, it's only on phones.
Yeah, but if it stays within its medium, then it doesn't. If it's not trying to replace those things, then I have no problem with it.
Yeah,
fair play. Let's go for it. But it's a weird thing, and it feels like it'll be short-lived because celebrities will soon not have time to do that.
Yeah. Well, dude, I should say. I mean, Princess Bride thing is that I think that's more of a one-off. I mean, right. but the rest of it is high budget. Oh yeah, no, it's full production value. It's like, dude, they've raised over $1 billion in
That's
capital.
Insane.
Yeah, they do. There is so much money behind this.
Do we know who it's come from? Is it like a?
Yeah. Oh, dude, I did have a look. I'll link some descriptions, some articles of it in the notes of the show. But
it sounds interesting. I'll be up for checking it out.
Yeah. I mean, I should have said this is the last feature I was going to mention to do with the portrait mode. Is that because they've got almost two separate feeds for if you're holding your phone, landscape or portrait.
Yeah.
They don't have to be of the same thing.
So you can reveal more.
Yeah. Well, what they've said is the demonstration is like the typical horror scene. The woman's in the house on her own, and there's someone at the door. Maybe if you're watching it in landscape, in this demonstration, it's like a shot of as you'd expect. From maybe viewing it from outside the house, like the stalker eye view, seeing her. But if you switch to portrait, it's what her phone is seeing.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
She's trying to FaceTime her dad. So it's like dad's not picking up, but you can see her because she's trying to do a video call. And then a notification pops down saying front doorbell activated. Yeah. Stuff like that. So it's completely different point of view.
Well, I like the idea of that, but I don't want to underestimate people's laziness in terms of like when you sit down to watch a film. A lot of people sit down to watch films to chill out, not to be engaged and to click around and find this and find out. Oh, did you see this bit? Did you see that bit? It's like, no, of course I didn't.
Well, look at Bandersnatch. So the Black Mirror. That was considering how I don't want to say revolutionary, but how odd that was at the time. How people went, this is really interesting because it's, we've never had interactive Netflix before. I can think of maybe one other, the Kimmy Schmidt special. So I saw that was interactive.
But man, I can't see, it won't, people are very, even myself, sometimes I'll put something on not because I really want to watch it, Friends is always on in the background, generally speaking. I wouldn't put on Bandersnatch or something like that.
Anything I have to participate in. Yeah.
It's cool though. It's cool. I like the idea of it, to get different points of view and to have that interactivity.
That feature specifically feels to me like it will be a creator who will find the best use for that, which Quibi probably haven't even thought of. They'll say, you should just do it like this.
Yeah. It's cool. I think people will be scared of missing stuff as well. And if you miss something, like I'm like this, if I miss something, I rarely want to go back and watch it again just to get that little bit.
Yeah, sure.
I'll watch it on YouTube or something So, I don't know. Yeah, it's cool, man. It's interesting.
It'll be interesting. I mean, they reckon they're going to be releasing, I think, 300 hours a day of content. I mean, that's mental. Dude, and this is the thing, man. I can't, I'll let you sort of read into it to get for more of the details, having sort of sprung this on you. But it's worth reading about. Because, I mean, I cannot stress this enough, man. These are big names making like high budget productions designed to be viewed. It's just because, I think for me, it's the fact that the medium feels so cheap and communal and TikTok-y. It feels like the sort of stuff you'd expect to see on a quick streaming site. Yeah. But it's not. It's like legit production. Weird. So it'd be interesting, man. It might go, because if anything, people were saying has quarantine hurt them to release it now, because they feel like they're aiming it towards people on buses. People who've got like the 5-10 minutes quick gap, to watch the next episode of whatever.
Yeah. As you say, it sounds like the sort of smaller commute things. Like if you lived in London, I've got to go here. It's going to take 20 minutes on the tube, or
exactly.
I've got 5 minutes on this tube and 5 minutes on that tube.
Yeah.
Whatever. I like that, but then sometimes I feel like information overload a little bit. Like, I don't know. Sometimes it feels like maybe you shouldn't be on your phone just for those 5 minutes.
Exactly. Dude, and you know what, mate? I was just about to say, it's almost like it's leaning into the ADHD culture of washing stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm the last person to have any like big thoughts on that, but
no, sure.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Where people say, kids these days, they want 2 seconds. There's the attention span so short. It's almost like they've gone, great. Well, have we got the streaming service for you?
Yeah, I was going to say, the attention's, we live in the world of instant gratification, and that really feels like it's leaning into that.
Yeah. No, sure. Well, we'll see, man.
We will see. It's interesting.
Hey, do you want to wrap up with first impressions of the big video game release?
Yeah, let's do it. So, without any spoilers for anybody, this would be a spoiler-free first impressions of The Last of Us Part 2. Ben, did you play Last of Us Part 1?
No.
Okay.
My brother did. I think I'm aware of it. I know it, but not playing it.
Let me start by saying, if you told me I was playing a PS5, I would not blink. It looks fantastic. I'm not even joking. It's one of the best graphically looking games I've ever seen. Without a shadow of a doubt. It's incredibly well detailed. And I'm playing it on a standard PS4, so I haven't got a PS4 Pro or anything. And I've got an Xbox One X, which is quite a 4K sort of, powerhouse. But this is one of the best games I've ever played graphically. It's stunning.
I don't want to jump in too much, mate, but it's interesting because you've almost kind of answered a question that I was going to ask you. Because we've been looking at the Unreal 5 footage and obviously very high spec visuals. I was going to be interested to hear how a new massive release stacks up it's almost like when you're aware of what's coming next.
Yeah.
If that makes sense, to have the latest thing released that isn't that.
You can tell because my PS4 fan comes on pretty much straight away. It's maxed out. Okay. They have eked out every single piece of performance from that PS4, and it is working overtime.
Wow.
It's like it's cycling uphill with the wind going down at it or something.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
It's crazy. But yeah, man, it looks incredible to the point, the detail to the point of, and I thought this was a very PS5 thing. Again, this will be spoiler free, but when at some point you have to walk through foresty areas, and the light comes through the trees, and you can see all that, and that's great, but the character actually puts their hand up like that to block it from going in their eyes. Okay. This is a tiny little feature like that you wouldn't even consider, but the fact that it's in there just ropes you in. You feel like you're in that world. It's graphically, I think it's better than God of War, which I thought looked incredible on PS4. It's amazing. And if you enjoyed the first one, I think there's nothing to dislike it. It's more of the same.
I mean, does it maintain the same kind of atmosphere? Because it's pretty tense, right?
Hugely. So it's the same atmosphere, same sort of gameplay, it's probably one of the best games at inducing stress.
Sure.
You really, when you come into a combat situation, to signal that combat is coming or someone might have glanced you, the music ramps up. It will just go if someone someone's coming near you, the music will just go, and that kind of gets you mentally ready for that challenge. And if you manage to get away from it, it kind of goes back down. But it does it so subtly and so well that it's incredible when you've got those...
It's not like boss fight music. It's like dan dan dan.
No, not at all. It's. Did you watch Chernobyl? You watched Chernobyl?
No, I never did. Man. I never did.
Man, Chernobyl, the TV series, has this incredible soundtrack. It's really good at just inducing stress. It's like this kind of painful drone that comes out of nowhere. When you hear it, you're like, the dread. It's full of that sort of horrible downtrodden. To be honest, it's not a nice game to play with all the stuff that's going on at the moment because it doesn't make you feel good. It's not
I mean, is it the kind of thing where it can't be any worse than real life?
Yeah.
So I mean, terrifying fungal zombies wandering around,
Yeah. Man, it's so good though. World building, story wise, so far, stressful moments, pivotal moments. It's been really, really cool. I'm excited to crack through it. But it's funny. It's almost like a revival because when the first one came out, that was zombies were big. Do you remember when Walking Dead was big? Zombies were big. They had a bit of a zombie renaissance in 2012, 13, 14.
Well, Call of Duty zombies and all the rest of it. It was every game.
I feel like it kind of went away a bit over the last couple of years, but now it's back and it's swinging and it's good.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah,
swinging
that's why
hard,
I like. Yeah, it's like, oh, that's why I like zombie stuff and post-apocalyptic and it's all come streaming back. Yeah, it's great. I don't really want to say any more about it without just going too far. But stories, motivations, details, gameplay, it's all there. Great.
Nailed it. Joel in one.
Yeah, absolutely. But no, that might be is that it?
I think that's it.
Tied up?
Oh! I was going to say one quick thing.
Yeah.
The Eurovision film that's come out on Netflix.
Mate, I've skipped over that many times.
You know what? We watched it. It's pretty decent. Will Ferrell, Rachel McAdams, Pierce Brosnan plays his dad. It's not overly silly, but it's a little bit silly. It's an easy watch. Honestly, it's just a nice, generally funny watch. Yeah. With some real Eurovision contestants in it to back up the cast. A few, like Graham Norton's in it announcing for the UK, like he does. Whether you like Eurovision or not, whether you think Eurovision's stupid or not, because it knows how stupid Eurovision is.
Oh, God, yeah. If it's a Will Ferrell film, mate, it's not going to be like...
No, it's... You know what? It's actually pretty good. Like I say, it's not going to blow your mind, but it's a good watch.
Fair
I
enough.
find it very funny in a lot of places. Yeah. Slipping that quick last minute Ben's wreck.
Ben's wreck.
But that is it. That's everything for this episode.
Thanks for joining us if you're new.
Yeah, thank you very much. We appreciate it. We're not normally so well behaved, but it's only because Tom said that we might have some new listeners.
Yeah, we're usually just off the wall talking about anything.
Oh, yeah, man. Or getting really far into right-wing politics. It's normally a completely different podcast.
Yeah. Join us for our radical left Democrat, whatever. So you can go there.
If you have listened this far, then you can leave a review. Yeah. Preferably at least 4 or 5 stars. I don't think they'll let you do more than 5, but try to keep tapping, and the secret 6th star unlocks.
Are you sure you want to give this 1 star? Yes. Oh no.
No, I went 5+1. I went 5+1. Yeah. Hey, who knows? Share it around. Leave us a comment. Tell us what you've been up to. Tell us what we should be up to. I don't know anymore. Man. I mean, I don't know. Where can people find you online if they need to?
It's at the Old Bite Review everywhere. But where can they find Ben?
You can find me at Benji Onelung on loads of different sites. All the good ones.
All the good ones.
None of the bad ones. Thanks as always to Tony Thaxton for our theme tune. And I think that's it.
Oh, I'm going to stop calling. Bye.
Bye.
Blimey, fair enough.
I know, dude.
I'm going to have to grab another adapter because I've got this plastic one which is usually just chucked into my PC and it is not. It's just going...
Oh, yeah, sure.
Every time you speak, so I'll be back in a sec.
Right on, man.
Mate, I'm gonna have to grab another adapter because I've got this plastic one which is usually just chucked in my PC and it's not. It's just going. Mate, I'm gonna have to grab another adapter because I've got this plastic one which is usually just chucked in my PC and it's not. It's just going.